Hello and welcome to India Business Hour. I'm Parikshit Luthra. Here are the headlines we are tracking this evening. Israel tells more than 1 million residents of North Gaza to evacuate within 24 hours as it gears up for a ground invasion. Hamas militants ask them to stay put and defy the evacuation order. United Nations says mass relocation is impossible and asks Israel to rescind the order. More than 1,300 people have been killed in Israel and more than 1,500 have died in Gaza since the Hamas attack began 7 days ago. Sensex and Nifty end the day with marginal cuts but post gains for the second straight week. Mid-caps gain in tandem with the blue chips. Nifty bank declines for the fourth straight week. India's trade deficit for September falls sharply due to lower imports and higher services exports. The trade gap for goods hits a 5-month low. Overall deficit drops below 5 billion. India and UK discuss the possibility of sealing a free trade agreement by Diwali. Sources say talks are also on regarding an early India visit by British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak. The 13th round of negotiations is underway. A Delhi court extends the custody of Lava's managing director Hari Om Rai and 3 Vivo executives by 3 days. The Enforcement Directorate had sought 10 days custody.
I came some years ago and I said, we will invest 10,500 crores. We have invested.
IKEA's global deputy CEO says that the Swedish retail giant is set to reveal a fresh India plan after investing 10,500 crores. Says that the number will be a big one. Maitsu says India has limitless opportunities for IKEA. They believe they can double their business and sourcing from India. That's an exclusive. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman pitches for automatic exchange of data on undisclosed immovable properties between G20 nations at the World Bank and IMF meet in Morocco. If agreed, India will get access to undisclosed real estate assets overseas. That's an exclusive. A G20 expert panel led by N.K. Singh and Larry Summers issues 30 new recommendations to strengthen multilateral development banks. Calls on the lending pipeline to be tripled and private capital to be quadrupled. N.K. Singh says multilateral development banks must work together and as a family and not in silos. After 2 years of wait, UK's competition watchdog finally allows Microsoft to acquire Call of Duty maker Activision Blizzard, making it the largest takeover in the gaming industry. The $69 billion deal makes Microsoft a video game giant, giving a tough fight to PlayStation owner Sony. International Olympic Committee sets the stage for cricket's inclusion in Los Angeles 2028. Chairman Thomas Bach says that the proposal to include cricket along with 4 other sports has been accepted by the executive board. The proposal would be up for voting at the IOC session, which starts in Mumbai tomorrow. Remember, Thomas Bach had confirmed that cricket was on the list in an exclusive interview last month. And India is all set to take on Pakistan in the Cricket World Cup tomorrow in Ahmedabad. Captain Rohit Sharma says opening batter Shubman Gill is 99% available to play tomorrow. Gill has been down with dengue for the past few days. It has been nearly a week since Hamas militants launched an attack on Israel, sparking retaliation. Over 2,000 people have died in 6 days and nearly 500,000 people have been displaced. Israel's defense forces have ordered all civilians of Gaza City, which amounts to more than 1 million people, to relocate within 24 hours. The UN has said such a mass relocation is impossible and warned that it could turn what is already a tragedy into a calamity. Here's a report. The Israeli retaliation following Hamas's surprise Saturday attack continues. Dozens of Israeli military planes pounded northern Gaza overnight, hitting as many as 750 targets. Hamas has claimed that the latest bombardment in the Gaza Strip has killed 13 hostages, which includes foreigners. Israel has not confirmed the attack. The Netanyahu government has already given an ultimatum to United Nations, asking them to evacuate Gaza Strip within 24 hours. The Israeli army is preparing for a ground invasion. The UN warns that mass relocation of Gaza civilians is impossible and could have devastating consequences.
Gaza will not look the same. We will reach a situation where Gaza leaders will be badly beaten. We will dismantle them. And whoever stays there will fully understand that you don't do such a thing to the state of Israel.
US Secretary of State Antony Blinken is in the region trying to avoid a wider escalation of the conflict. He met Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas. He has already met Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu and is likely to meet leaders from neighboring countries. US Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin has landed in Tel Aviv as well in a hastily arranged trip. He was in Brussels in the last couple of days. Operation Ajay to bring back Indian citizens from Israel has begun. The External Affairs Ministry in its first official statement reiterated India's consistent position that it supports establishing an independent and viable Palestine. However, it condemned the Hamas strike as a terror attack.
See this as a terrorist attack. Our policy in this regard has been long-standing and consistent. India has always advocated the resumption of direct negotiations towards establishing a sovereign, independent and viable state of Palestine, living within secure and recognized borders, side by side, at peace with Israel.
As Israel prepares for a ground invasion into Gaza, the search for survivors under the rubble continues. The airstrikes have made it difficult for families to reach cemeteries. Israel says there will be no pause in its siege of Gaza until all hostages were freed. More than 2 million residents of Gaza are currently living without electricity, fuel and water. With agency inputs and Radhika Udas, this is Parikshit Luthra. On to the day and week's trading action. Sensex and Nifty closed the day with marginal cuts but posted gains for the second straight week. Mid-caps have gained in tandem with the blue chips, while Nifty Bank declined for the fourth straight week. SIP inflows crossed the 16,000 crore rupee mark for the first time in September. Nigel D'Souza joins us now. Nigel, take us through the upward trend in SIPs.
Well, we've been making this point that domestic money has been flowing in, and you will make the difference as well, going by the kind of inflows we're seeing. And the reason I say it is in the last few years, well, you've seen various hurdles for the Indian stock market, whether it was demonetization, implementation of GST. There were a couple of global wars or conflicts as well that did take place. And the Fed, as well as other central bankers, they have been tightening the screws. Amid all of this, you have the FI flows as well that have been fairly volatile. You know, they have been putting in some money, they've been pulling out as well. And even this year, you know, particularly in the last month or so, and in October, we have seen some bit of pull-off from the FI. So their flows have been fairly volatile. Then who's made the difference? Well, you have made the difference. Because the way the flows have been coming in, you know, it's been very, very heartening. And to run you through a couple of numbers then, the SIP flows for the month of September, it's close to around $2 billion. Massive increase is what we have seen. And if you pull up a chart for the last few years, on a monthly basis, if you look at that SIP number, during demonetization, it was a fourth of what it was. During COVID, it was half of what we have delivered in September. And as of September, it's nearly around 16,000 crore rupees. So you need to keep those SIPs going. And I'm sure if you have it sip by sip, this Indian stock market party will be rather good for you. So you've made the difference, and you will continue to make the difference, is what we think so.
India's trade deficit for September falls sharply due to lower imports and higher services exports. Lata Venkatesh is here with more.
Yeah, the September trade deficit numbers will count as a positive. Over the past few months, there has been a tendency of exports to remain stagnant, and therefore a fear that trade deficit could be rising. That fear goes away with the September numbers. The September goods imports have come in at 53.8 billion. That's a good 5 billion lower than the 58 billion that we recorded in August. And even from year ago it was 61.9. So compared to both year ago and month ago levels, the goods imports have fallen significantly. This could be because of lower prices of several commodities. The goods exports likewise have not fallen. Okay, they're just static. At 34.47 billion, September exports are exactly what they were in August and exactly what they were a year ago as well. Year ago it was 35.45. So more or less static. Exports not growing obviously because globally several countries are seeing tight monetary conditions. If you come to the services exports, they've actually done well, which is a positive because our services exports are picking up. September services exports have come in at 29.37 billion. That's a good 3 billion more than what we did in August, which was 26 billion. And it is similar to what we did a year ago. It was about 29 billion in September of 2022 as well. Overall, therefore, the goods trade deficit has come down to 19 billion compared to 24 billion in the previous month, August, and compared to 25 billion in the previous September of 2022. Short point, deficit down, imports down, services exports are higher. So on all these counts, the September data will count as a good set of numbers.
Thank you very much, Lata Venkatesh, for joining us. Moving on, India and UK are trying to conclude talks on the much anticipated and delayed free trade agreement soon. UK government officials say that they have entered the hardest part of negotiations. Sources say that though a possible deal signing by Diwali is being discussed, no timeline has been set as yet. United Kingdom's Trade Office told CNBC-TV18 that the priority is the deal and not the date. That they also added that there is political will on both sides to deliver a comprehensive and ambitious deal. Moving on, a G20 expert panel led by India's 15th Finance Commission Chairman N.K. Singh and former US Treasury Secretary Larry Summers has turned in 30 recommendations to strengthen multilateral development banks. The report submitted by the panel proposes a tripling of the non-concessional lending by institutions like the World Bank and the IMF to $300 billion by 2030. It has also called on the multilateral development banks to increase the private capital mobilization by fourfold from the current $60 billion to $240 billion. N.K. Singh has said that the multilateral development banks must work together as a family and not in silos.
But if multilateral development banks act in tandem, act in symmetry, act as a family, and not act in silos, it can make an enormous difference. It's a classic case. Outcome, the final product is much bigger than the sum of the parts.
Now to a CNBC-TV18 exclusive, Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman pitched for automatic exchange of data on undisclosed immovable properties between G20 nations at the World Bank and IMF meet in Morocco. As per sources, if agreed, India will get access to undisclosed real estate assets overseas. All right, let's get you the top newsmaker this evening. IKEA's global deputy CEO has said that the retail giant is set to reveal a fresh investment plan in India. This investment comes on the back of the 10,500 crore rupee that has already been committed. Speaking exclusively to Shireen Bhan, Mayutsu said that the investment number will be a big one and added that India has limitless opportunities for IKEA.
I want to say that first we have delivered what we promised. I came some years ago and I said, we will invest 10,500 crores. We have invested. We said we will source at least 30% local sourcing. We have done it. It's a time to have international standards, because this international standard will help not only to increase the quality of the product in India, but also to plug in into global supply chain. And have India as a fantastic opportunity now to be a manufacturing hub for the entire world. So I think time-wise, it's a perfect time.
And you can catch the full conversation with IKEA's global deputy CEO and this global leader. This will be on our special program, Global Dialogues, at 10 p.m. right here on CNBC-TV18. A Delhi court has extended the custody of 3 Vivo executives and Lava's managing director Hari Om Rai in a money laundering case. The Enforcement Directorate had asked for 10 days custody, but the court granted only 3 days. Ashwin Kumar is here recapping what happened in court.
Well, after spending the last 3 days in ED's custody, the Sessions Court has seen it fit to grant another 3 days of custody to Hari Om Rai, the chairman and MD of Lava, as well as 3 other accused in this case. Now, there was some interesting arguments exchanged. Hari Om Rai's counsels argue that despite various recent judicial orders that reprimanded the ED on its conduct, there appears to be no change. Intact, that the ED continues to use its powers indiscriminately. The lawyer said that the PMLA has been converted by the ED into an instrument of oppression. The argument that they put across is that for an arrest to take place, a very clear dirty money trail has to be drawn leading up to Hari Om Rai, which clearly has not been established, and despite that, the arrest was done. Further, their counsels went on to argue that if at all there is a case of the ED, that there has been circuitous investments into the Indian market by the Chinese company, that would be a violation of FDI norms, which would be a civil offence under FEMA and not a criminal offence under the PMLA. Interestingly, in a departure from convention, we also had Hari Om Rai, who was present in court, personally addressing the court, where he said that as a sign of protest, he's not had a morsel of food for 105 hours. He further went on to say that the ED appears to be championing the national cause, but that he too is a national champion. Lava is the last remaining brand of Indian smartphones that he personally has been counseling and advising government leaders on how to draft policies. He also, in fact, went out on a limb and sought an audience with senior ED officials. That, of course, was not allowed, but clearly making a case of ED's abuse of power. However, these arguments did not cut ice with the additional sessions judge. Despite these arguments, the sessions judge has granted ED 3 additional days of custody of Hari Om Rai, as well as the 3 other accused, allowing the ED 3 more days for custodial interrogation.
All right, remember, Lava is a homegrown brand, and big ramifications of what is being alleged by the Enforcement Directorate. Ashwin Kumar reporting there. Moving on, the Delhi High Court came down hard on the resolution professional of the now grounded airline Go First. The High Court said the aircraft, which belongs to lessors, are being cannibalized by the resolution professional. The court allowed the lessors to deploy 24-hour security to secure the aircraft. The court also ordered the resolution professional to file documents on removal of parts and status of the aircraft. The Delhi High Court has upheld the order which approved police remand for NewsClick founder Prabir Purkayasth and HR head Amit Chakraborty. Purkayasth and Chakraborty argued that they were not represented by lawyers for remand and that the grounds for arrest were not shared in writing. However, the High Court said it has found no merit in the petitions. Both of them continue to be under judicial custody as of now. Jewelry brand Tanishq is expecting robust demand this festive season. Speaking to CNBC-TV18, Ajoy Chawla, CEO of Jewelry Division at Titan Company, said that early indicators reflect a better customer sentiment than the previous year. He also revealed that Titan's jewelry segment saw a very healthy double-digit growth in the second quarter.
We think that the season is going to be exciting. At least we are preparing for a very exciting and robust demand this season. How it will play out, we'll see. So far, the early indicators from consumer sentiment studies that we have done seem to believe that sentiment is as high, in fact, slightly better than last year.
Coming up on India Business Hour, cricket's Olympic dream moves a step closer. We will tell you more shortly. And you can also catch all of CNBC-TV18's news and updates on WhatsApp, Facebook, X, Threads, Instagram, and JioCinema. You're watching India Business Hour. All decks cleared for the Microsoft Activision deal. Britain's competition watchdog has approved the company's proposed takeover of the gaming firm. The approval paves the way for Microsoft to close the $69 billion deal by the 18th of October. after it extended the deadline to secure UK's approval. However, the Competition and Market Authority has said that the deal has been cleared without cloud gaming rights. The Indian government has rejected the findings of the Global Hunger Index and said that the index is an erroneous measure of hunger. As per the report, India's rank has slipped from 107 last year to 111. India's score is lower than its neighboring 6 countries like Pakistan, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh and Nepal. As per the index, India also has the highest child wasting rate in the world, which reflects acute undernourishment. The European Union has initiated a probe against X, formerly known as Twitter, over allegations that the platform was being used to spread disinformation on the Israel-Palestine war. This comes days after European Union Commissioner Thierry Breton wrote to X seeking its response on the matter. Ex-CEO Linda Yasserino has said that the company removed hundreds of Hamas-affiliated accounts. She added that a leadership group had been assembled to assess the situation. International Olympic Committee sets the stage for cricket's inclusion in Los Angeles 2028. Chairman Thomas Bach said that the proposal to include cricket along with 4 other sports has been accepted by the executive board. The proposal would be up for voting at the IOC session, which starts in Mumbai tomorrow. Remember, Thomas Bach had confirmed that the cricket sport was on the list in an exclusive interview last month to Shireen Pan.
It was about the proposal of the Los Angeles Organizing Committee to introduce 5 new sports. And these 5 sports are baseball, softball, flag football, lacrosse sixes, squash, and cricket. These proposals have been accepted as a package by the IOC Executive Board, taking into consideration that these proposals and these sports are fully in line with the sports culture of our host in 28, with the American sports culture.
Time now for a special report. Chocolate makers are licking their lips with anticipation as the festive season sets in, especially with chocolates increasingly being seen as an acceptable replacement for the traditional sweets that hold sway over the festivities. CNBC-TV18's Shivani Bazaz reports that both Indian and foreign chocolate makers are sweetening their offerings and value propositions.
इस दिवाली कुछ अच्छा हो जाए, कुछ मीठा हो जाए.
For chocolate maker Cadbury, ads like this are not new. Over the years, more and more people have been picking chocolates as their go-to sweet over the traditional mithai. And chocolatiers with the presence in India are playing for high stakes this 2023, especially with the Cricket World Cup coinciding with the festive season. The target audience spans generations, but children remain a core market for both domestic and international players, and new launches a core strategy.
So we have targeted this period because we know it's one of the most highest consumption moment of chocolate in general, but it's not the only way we are targeting this Diwali or this festivities period. You will see in the market soon some other packs coming from the portfolio of Kinder with an assortment pack with where we will find Kinder Joy, Kinder Creamy, and again Kinder Sugar Bone Crispy, the 3 together in the same pack. And apart of that, also Ferrero is working on another offer, which is Ferrero Rocher Moments, and it comes with a luxurious packaging that can go very well with to gift.
Chocolate brands are also adapting to customer preferences for healthier options, including dark chocolates. Mondelez India said, and I quote, "We have consciously embraced the idea of building cultural and personal relevance for our consumers through our product offerings and campaigns. Whether it's our classic Cadbury Dairy Milk for those who love the timeless taste, or Cadbury Bonville for consumers who prefer dark chocolates, we have all options for everyone." End of quote.
Well, the Indian chocolate market is poised for growth, with its size expected to grow from $2.4 billion in 2023 to $4.1 billion in 2028. That's a CAGR of 8.8%, and global brands like Ferrero say they want a piece in the pie. The premium category is also being seen as a big market opportunity. Ferrero, for instance, says that there's a growing demand for niche and expensive chocolates, with luxurious looking and sophisticated chocolates can serve as gifts, and this is an area it wants to leave its stamp on. In New Delhi, this is Shivani Bazaz.
So you're considering gifting something to somebody this festive season, then you have a lot of chocolate options, as Shivani Bazaz was pointing out. With that, it's a wrap on this edition of India Business Hour. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.